Hi, and welcome to another installation of Vendor Voices with Kathy Zimmerman. Today, we are with Sally Inglet, and we are talking about MEternally. Welcome, Sally.
Hello.
So I want to take just a moment and thank you so much for everything that you do for ABOS and for outreach and our members. Our people who work with seniors, and particularly those seniors affected by Alzheimer's and other dementia issues, are absolutely thrilled with your products. So thank you so much.
I appreciate that.
All right, so why don't you tell us a little bit about you?
Well, I was born and raised in La Crosse, Wisconsin, so I'm a Midwestern girl. I actually joined the military in college through ROTC and ended up traveling somewhat. I actually lived in Berlin when the wall came down. Came back to the States and settled down in a little bitty town in Minnesota where my mom had grown up. So from there, I guess I started a computer business and did some other things. And when my mom ended up getting sick, that's when everything kind of changed. And I guess that's where I've landed now. I do have 3 kids too, or through my I inherited them with my husband. And then I've got one that lives in Florida.
All right. All right. So tell us a little bit about MEternally. What does it do? What's its little thing, its niche?
Well, we make Reminiscence products for people with dementia, and that actually was our original goal of what we wanted to do. What we did find out though was that Reminiscence really benefits everybody, and we wanted to include all seniors. And then we also wanted to include their family members as well. So all that interaction benefits the seniors. So we make everything from DVDs to cards to what we call busy bottles, and I'll share some of those things with you in just a little bit. But we originally had targeted the nursing homes, the activity directors, and we still do a lot with activity directors. But we had found out that it's difficult for them to purchase a professional grade kit and use it and then have it sit on the shelf for months. So it made sense to bring those over to libraries where that provider can actually go into the library and check out a kit and bring it back, check out an item and bring it back and get another title, kind of like what they do with books after they read them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's worked out really well for not only the professional caregivers and activities directors in facilities, but also personal caregivers as well. It's been very nice.
Perfect. So how did you really end up in outreach?
Oh boy, I guess that kind of happened. Like I said, we're, the activity professionals wanted to be able to check them out from libraries. And I guess outreach to me is I don't know, I get a kick out of you folks.
No.
Let's say that much. With the activity professionals, they're truly a breed of their own. And then when I came over into outreach, it was like, holy cow, these guys are even more wild than they are. I love the open minds and the ingenuity and the innovation and the compassion that I see with the outreach people. And it just, I seem to fit in your group really well with personality wise. I guess I've just met so many absolutely wonderful people, and I guess I want to stay with the group. I found my people.
You found your people. We are your people. Absolutely. Absolutely. So why don't you show us some of your fun products? Because I know I use your products or talk about them. I use them every day with my seniors, and I absolutely love them. And I love how they work, and the quality is amazing. But why don't you, the maker, tell us about them?
Well, I guess we started out originally, this was a school project when I was working on my bachelor's degree. I had to come up with an innovation, and I my mother has or had Huntington's disease, so she had a very severe case of with dementia and not being able to respond. And by the time I was in this class, she actually was bedridden and diapers and feeding tube and the whole thing. And I ended up finding a silly cuckoo clock at Christmas time on a clearance rack. And I put that in her room. And when that bird popped out and chirped, she turned her head. And that was like a big light bulb for me that I just made a connection with her. And I don't know how I did that, but I guess our products, the main thing that I want to do is create a connection, whether it's between, the person and their past, the person and their family member that's right there, the person in the community they're living in. And we started that out with our DVDs. And everything that we do is really based on themes, or I guess let me break it down a little bit here. Let me show you one here. Ugh, I got a whole array of stuff behind me there.
I know you do. And I just love it. I just love it.
So I just want to show you any of our products. When you get them, you're going to see, this is the great outdoors. You're going to see visually that there are different categories in there. Regardless of which theme you go with, you've got your categories. So this would be 4 different videos in this theme. But then when you get our cards, then you have the same 4 different categories in the cards as well. And the reason we do that is to, I guess, for some consistency or continuity. When you're talking on a theme, you could have a video playing in a multi-purpose room, in a waiting area, in a person's individual room. And then you can discuss things with the cards with them. Our cards are cool because they're really nice, professional grade for wiping them down. They're nice and big. In each of those categories, you actually have pictures from the category. And then you actually have activities as well.
I love those cards, those activity cards. I took mine the first time into a memory cafe setting and was able to hand those cards out to family members that were there and let them help lead discussion at other tables. And brilliant idea on those, just saying.
I think what we're finding now, especially when you get into facilities, is we don't necessarily have the level of skill that we used to when you get into the activity directors.
Exactly.
So many times with budgets now, either the position is cut out or it's volunteers or fend for yourself almost. And when you do have one, their budgets are so darn low. So finding something that's kind of self-directed or volunteer directed, something where you can take a card and you can open a conversation with somebody is a big deal. So we go simple, basic. We originally had a program that we wrote that did a lot of this, where you'd put in how you're feeling or how you want to feel, and it would go out and search and find all this stuff. And it just made no sense. They said, we need something hands-on. We don't need some big techie thing, which I think is a really big deal, especially with the older generation. I say older in a nice way because I'm 60 now. So I'm, as a baby boomer, I'm heading there. So anyways, but besides our regular basic products we've had for a long time, we actually came up with some new things this year in our busy bottles and our button bottles. And I just love these things. They're so much.
Yes. I absolutely love them too.
You haven't seen our button bottles yet.
No, I have not seen the button bottles. I'm waiting patiently.
Buttons and baubles and that. And I'll show you, these are one of our new ones. And this really doesn't have to do with eye spying or anything. It's more of a calming, fun effect. And it's a bottle full of buttons, but besides the buttons, I mean, these are like jewelry grade items in here. I've got actually a tray here of some that are not in the bottle. And I'll show you, each one of these has got a little bitty key in it.
Oh,
there's some consistent things between them. You've got other things you've got to find, but along with the bottle, we originally didn't include this, but came up with, where is everything on my desk here? we actually ended up putting a card with these as well. And one of the first things you do is you look for that key. So some just very basic things like find the hidden key, find a bead that's got flowers on it, find something that sparkles. So they're not necessarily looking for, it can be
thing.
multiple things that are in there.
Mhm.
But it really is just soothing. I have fun just sitting here looking at it.
Oh, there is always one of the busy bottles out of our library collection on my desk, because if I need to sit and think about something, I will sit and just twirl it and stare at it and think. It's very calming. And honestly, the quality of these things is absolutely amazing.
I
And
tell
I
you,
appreciate it.
the sourcing of the things inside has been so much fun, but we've gotten now where we have thousands of different little things that we put in bottles, I swear. It's a
Mhm.
lot of fun. But the busy bottles, let me show you a little bit I'll show you our new kit that I love. This is the new first responder and nurse kit.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's really neat. So this comes in a box. In there, you've got your 2 bottles and 2 pens and
I love the cases.
2 little erasers. But if you've got your cards in there as well. So with our busy bottles, you actually end up with a card that gives you your I Spy
Mhm.
game. So you go through and you have to find a stethoscope and a scrub top and a cup of coffee and, you know, a hospital, all kinds of little things. So they can find these things.
There they are. Oh my gosh.
They're in there and they're so much fun.
Yeah. Yeah, there was the scrubs. I saw the
Oh,
scrubs.
did you see them? Yeah.
Yeah.
Then on the back side, we always have, whether it's, you know, a word search or a maze or a dot to dot, we have some kind of activity as well.
Mhm.
We always give 2 copies with these because sometimes you want to look at the front and the back. Sometimes you want to do it with somebody and pass it back and forth. But they're soothing and they're fun.
Yes.
And this is really something that can be intergenerational. You can do with, you know, with one of your children or grandchildren, or, you know, just watching somebody do it.
Mhm.
You know, even if you can't partake, you're still kind of spying and trying to figure out where things are. Just a lot of fun.
Sure.
I'm really proud this year. And Kathy, I know I talked to you about our bilingual kit.
Yes.
Well, I go to Mexico every year, and every time I go, they've got so many cool little things, and there's so many Mexican Americans, and people that speak Spanish that I just had to play.
Mhm.
The same kind of bottles, but this has actually got you've got one that's for the Day of the Dead, and you know, here in the
Oh
US,
my gosh, look at it.
we think about Day of the Dead, and we don't think like they think in Mexico. There it's a celebration for their, you
Yes.
know, and it's a big deal. So we've got our Day of the Dead bottle. Then we've got, this is actually a rodeo bottle. It's got all kinds of horse stuff and rodeo
Oh
things.
my gosh.
You see all the rice in there? We use rice
Yeah.
because it won't mold. I can color it. If you
Mhm.
every piece of rice in here, I color myself.
Oh,
We don't buy that. We've got bins that we do. But anyways, and here's this one is the Mexico themed one. I don't know if you can see any of this stuff.
oh yeah. Look at that.
But
There's the flag.
there's a soccer ball
Oh,
or
the soccer
football.
ball. There is a beverage. I see the beverage. Mhm. Oh
So
my gosh, that's awesome.
they're so neat. But then we, of course, you know, we have our little bag in there with our pens and our erasers. We've
Mhm.
got the cards for each of them so they can do their I Spies. The cards are one side is English, one side is Spanish.
Excellent.
And then we've got these cool books. I found this author that actually was a teacher. And we have a rodeo book. We have a one that has got all the traditions, Hispanic
Mhm.
traditions, and then another one that's all about foods of Mexico. These are
Wow.
all English and Spanish,
Mhm.
large print, and then one on the Day of the Dead. So, I mean, this was so
That
much
is
fun.
amazing. Now that I've seen it, oh my gosh.
It's neat. It's really neat.
Yeah.
It was really a labor of love. worked on this one for a long time.
You did well. You
Yeah,
did well.
thanks. So that is our newest thing.
Mhm.
So I wanted to share that.
Well, thank you.
I know you've probably seen we had our bigger books that we did. I love these books.
Oh,
too.
I have these too. I love these. Yes.
I just did the 70s.
Oh,
So we have the 70s now.
all right.
So this is just, these are called Menus and Memories, a nostalgic collection of mementos. And that's
Mhm.
just what it is, like the 70s. Here's all your macrame and all your
Oh my
stuff.
gosh. Yes.
I don't know, do you remember Pickled People?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I do. It was a thing, and I don't know why it was, but it was a thing. Yeah.
This is my dad in our kitchen at home.
Oh
And you
my
see how I
gosh.
did,
Yeah.
here's the ceramic tiles, the coffee pot, the comet, and the
Mhm.
aluminum cup. So you have to look in there and spy. And so just some really neat things. Having a Kool-Aid stand.
Yeah.
So-
And those books, well, once again, the quality is wonderful. It could be used over and over and over again, and you don't have to worry about wear and tear immediate, you know?
So
So
we've got those ones, and then we had these before, but just to mention, that was 50s, 60s, 70s. And these are our rewinds. I'm pretty sure you've seen those. We've got the
yes,
50s.
yep, I've got the 50, 60, 70 rewind.
And all on the front page of all of them there. There's my family. There's my
There
mom
you
and dad
are.
getting married in the 50s. So I mean,
Oh
you
my
get to
gosh.
follow a family through the decades.
Yeah.
What I wanted to bring up about this so quickly is, like with our 50s set, I talk about, we've got our, so you've got your DVD, and you've got your cards,
Hmm.
and you've got your rewind, you've got your menus and memories, and you've got an I Spy bottle for the 50s.
Oh my gosh.
So, we try to have not so many themes that you go crazy, but we're trying to build it up so that you can actually build your own kits. Think
Mhm.
about what your people will use. And, we sell any of these plastic cases, or we've got the backpacks too, which have been really,
Mhm.
those have been really popular as well. But to take these, maybe start with our cards and build from that, put your books in with it, put some of the things, the games and things that you want to have. I mean, I'd love to have you buy our kits, certainly, but when you can take it and bring it home and make it a local thing, adding
Yes.
some local flavor to it and that,
Mhm.
I mean, that's just so cool with Reminiscence. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what I have to say about products.
That's awesome. And I know for a fact that you're always working on new stuff. So, there's stuff coming down the line.
Always,
Always.
I promised over a year ago that we'd do this Remembering Pets series.
Mhm.
And the pandemic happened and stuff happened, and it's just been crazy. And so I'm just now getting back to it. And it's been kind of fun corresponding with people from a year ago. They're like, oh, I forgot about that. When's that
Mhm.
coming out?
Yeah.
That one is very dear to me as well as a pet lover. So
Excellent. So, we've touched on about everything, but what do you think makes MEternally different from anybody else putting together kits or products for working with seniors?
well, I think probably the biggest thing is the personal touch that we give. I mean, we've been there, we've done that. I mean, it's not just myself, it's my husband, my two sisters and my son. And I mean, we've through my grandma with Alzheimer's, my grandpa with Huntington's, my mother with Huntington's, my brother with Huntington's. I mean, we've seen that, and we know the impact it has and how hard it is to communicate with somebody and find some kind of mutual ground or something.
Mhm.
Whereas, I guess I don't know how to say it nicely, but when you go visit someone and they're far along, in the stages of something that is not going to be reversed, it's so hard to open a conversation.
Yes.
But when you start, you find that topic. We call these favorite things because we feel if you find someone's favorite things, you can get them to open up,
Mhm.
and that's when they tell the stories. And, it's so cool for both the person telling and receiving the stories. So I guess the personal touch, and I guess the passion that I have for this you know, my career is in IT. And I'm getting right towards the end of that career to the point where I'm gonna retire and be able to do this full time.
Awesome.
So I'm so excited for that to happen.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. So I know that recently you just finished your master's degree in organizational leadership, and that your thesis was about outreach during the pandemic. Can you tell us just a little bit about that?
I'm so glad I'm done with it. It was 55 pages of research and such, and it was all about things that outreach did to help people with their loneliness through the pandemic. So, but what I found, what was really neat for me was to be able to look at it and say, well, wait a minute. Not only did they find ways, you know, to reach them and try to combat some of that loneliness, but they had to deal with their basic needs. I mean, you guys were out there being hotspots for neighborhoods, handing out meals, making masks. You know, and then to see your brick and mortar, you know, turned into homeless shelters. And I mean, it's just amazing the amount of work that was done by the libraries that I had no idea. Just the collaboration that happened between, you know, the other groups, you know, the cities or government, and how it was handled was just exquisite. I just hats off to, especially to outreach, of course, but I mean, to anybody in the field and what was done during the pandemic.
Yeah, I think the pandemic really proved that libraries are the hub of a community, even though the community didn't know it yet.
Yeah.
The libraries are the hub, definitely. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I learned a lot.
oh, I'm sure. Um, so as we wrap up, what would you like to say to everybody who's going to be at conference, who is coming to conference virtually? Is there anything you'd like to say?
I mean, I guess I'd like to talk to you, have you stop by and see me. I know I'm going to be doing an hour session, and I was just talking to Kathy about that. I'm trying to think of, you know, how to do this and not bore everybody, because you're sitting in sessions all day, and not that they're boring now, but I think we might just have a big play date, bring all the products in and let everybody play.
Hands
I
on.
think that would be fun. It would be a good way for me to get feedback, a good way for you guys to figure out if you could use our products or how you could build your own kits. You know, even if you don't purchase from us, I'm a resource, and I actually keep a resource list down on our website. What other libraries are doing with kits and you know, helping out with memory care. So
All right. Well, conference is actually in 52 days.
oh my gosh.
I know. Oh my gosh, 52 days. It's so exciting. So we definitely look forward to seeing you there in person, finally everybody back together again. And we appreciate the time you took to do this today. And we will see you soon.
Sounds good.
All right. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.